Guillain-Barre, or some of you out there call it Guillain-Barre, hasn't changed in 30 years. 30 years ago, Guillain-Barre syndrome, if you insist on calling it an acute inflammatory polyneuropathy, that's fine. I've become allergic to my own neurons. I've become allergic to my own myelin on the peripheral nerves. Now, Guillain-Barre is a very tight, very short knowledge base. Yet, that doesn't stop people from being wrong. Guillain-Barre is ascending weakness. Ascending weakness. It goes from your toes to your nose. It goes from your ankles and your feet to your chest. In the rest, from your toes to your nose, and a loss of reflexes, a loss of deep tendon reflexes. So, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you tell me what else besides Guillain-Barre syndrome does ascending weakness and a loss of reflexes? What else does ascending weakness and a loss of reflexes? This is the only thing, except for one other thing, that will do that. This other thing exists only in Nigeria, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. India has had the first 3 years free of this disease in its history. The only other thing that does this is 1, 2, 3, polio. Only polio will do this. Ascending weakness and a loss of reflexes. Ascending weakness and a loss of reflexes, and they ask you the question, what is the most likely diagnosis? What is the most accurate test? Nerve conduction studies. What is the best initial therapy? Intravenous immunoglobulins or plasmapheresis? Although I will tell you, I can't understand why any human being anywhere would do plasmapheresis when you can get away with intravenous immunoglobulins. Ascending weakness and loss of reflexes. Nerve conduction studies is the most accurate test. Intravenous immunoglobulins or plasmapheresis. Steroids is never the correct answer. Never correct. Now, I'm going to tell you what the single most frequently asked question is on your test. The single most frequently asked question on your test is it tells you that this person comes in and what is the most important step. The most important step, a 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old she, man, female, doesn't matter, comes to the emergency department with weakness in their legs, loss of reflexes, reflexic in the ankles and the knees. The most important thing to do first is pulmonary function tests, or can be called a forced vital capacity, or can be called a peak inspiratory pressure, or the peak inspiratory pressure. Now, what will Guillain-Barre affect? Your ability to inhale or your ability to exhale? Which one takes the energy? Inhalation. It takes work to be inspired, but we all expire naturally. Exhalation is round ribs. Exhalation is elastic tissue of the lungs. Exhalation is passive. Inhalation is active. Inhalation. Because 50% of people are going to need to be having an intimate relationship with a plastic tube in their mouth in an intensive care unit and be on a ventilator. How do you know who's going on the vent? Now, I'm telling you that I have seen it many times that people who thought this was some sort of test-taking bakwas, they're like, oh, this is some bakwas, man. This is all bullshit. And then later on, they become a first-year intern or second-year resident. And I'm like, listen, the person with Guillain-Barre, did you check the pulmonary function test? Did you do the peak inspiratory pressure? Did you do the forced vital capacity? I'm like, no, Dr. Fisher, because, they were breathing fine when I saw them. Okay, let me tell you what you sound like. I'm like, the gas tank is like nearly empty. Did you go fill up the gas tank? And you go, no, because the car was still driving. I only fill it up when the car stops. You have to do pulmonary function tests to tell when the car is about to stop. So Guillain-Barre is very easy. Ascending weakness and loss of reflexes. Most accurate test is nerve conduction testing. You have to exclude respiratory failure. Who's got impending respiratory failure? IVIG or plasmapheresis. IVIG or plasmapheresis. Steroids is never the answer, and no combos. No combinations. It's not like, I'll have a number 27, the IVIG and plasmapheresis combo. Yeah, the large oranges, no combo. No combos, no steroids. This is the single most frequently asked question, and it's also the one where you're going to save somebody's life. Because if you think the stuff that we're doing here is not the same thing that you're going to do on the floors, you're wrong. Because the mistakes people make, it's very hard to undo them when you're a resident later on. There you go. That's it. Guillain-Barre. Hey, by the way, is that association with Campylobacter? Is that real or is that nonsense? The association with Campylobacter it's real. The association with Campylobacter is real. Very simple number of questions. See you in the next section.